Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast. I'm Zach, your host. Today's episode, we have got Tyler Thompson with Old to New Finishes.
Hey, what's up, Zach? Thanks for having me on, man. I am very fortunate to be the first guest on this podcast, and let's set it off. Let's set it off on a good note here.
Man, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, you know me. I've been with Centurion for a while, and I know you guys use Centurion. But following you guys' journey on social media, it's just been pretty awesome. Let's just kick it off. Just kind of tell me how you got into painting. Just kind of share your story. Let everyone know what happened.
Man, you know, when the wife and we started as a team, just tackling small projects around the house. I think most of us refinishers kind of started with furniture. Fixing things, restoring stuff and, small.
Yeah, the furniture flip.
Yeah, for sure. And then you got labeled as the furniture flipper and you're just like, oh man, I kind of want to be better than that.
Yeah.
There's levels to it. And, we started to invest in ourselves and, people, they started to, see the work that we were putting out and they just loved it. And, it started to evolve into a full-time business after I had my first child. And, here we are today. I've got 4 kids and, plenty of responsibilities now running this business full-time with the wife. So, trying to keep it small as long as possible, but, definitely have big goals for the future to turn this thing into an empire, here at Old to New Fine Finishes. And, we're in a small town in Indiana, but, we've taken over in just a short amount of time that we've, been dabbling in here with Centurion and industrial wood coatings. And, that's what's really changed our lives for sure.
Yeah. So your process, I see you talk about your process a lot. Just kind of break that down. Like, how do you do your 5-day process? How do you start, beginning, finish? What are some things? Give us a rundown on that side.
So, I started out, struggling, trying to get my coatings to dry, off the shelf products, just the mental side of it, all the things put together. I was ready for, some factory coating stuff that was meant to work for the client and, the end user. So once I got into the factory coatings itself, I started knocking these jobs out instead of, 2 weeks or, like 9 days, man. It turned into 5, no problem. So then, got the SOPs down and everything. And it just turned into, okay, at this point I can do, the 5-day process, or I can do 4 different ways and still get the exact same outcome. I can make it a 3-day or a 4-day. Just depends on how hard you want to work. Obviously, that's what it's always going to come down to. And how many hours you want to work a day. You can work, 6 to 8, or, you can work 10, 12 hours a day. Having a shop is definitely a huge key to my. Yeah, when we invested in that earlier last year, that was definitely huge for us. We used to work out of our family shop, but yeah, having a shop for the 5-day process, it definitely makes it to where I can definitely turn over more clients a week, more jobs per week instead of just one now. So, at this point, it's coming down to I can't just do everything myself. And wife with her pretty fingernails, I know she don't want to break any more. So, and she definitely wants to hang out with the kids. So it's getting to the point where I'm going to need some manpower in there to start training start training an army of guys like myself that can put up with this type of grind for sure.
It's a tough one, yeah, for sure. Oh, that's my next question was going to be. So you're doing it all solo, and you've been on your own for, did you say a year and a half, 2 years? How long you been doing it just full time refinishing?
So full time refinishing, I've been doing it for about 3.5 years now.
3.5 years, man. Congrats. That's like that 3 year mark, man. That's pretty something. That's something.
Yeah,
I mean, you make that 3 year mark and it's like a weight off your shoulders because, a lot of businesses don't even make it that. I mean, you go from 100 guys out there doing it and you make that 3 year mark and, half of those guys have already dropped out. Man, that's incredible. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face to all the haters out there. That's for damn sure.
That always feels good when you just get to just say, look at me now. Get out of here. Oh, that's pretty awesome. So your shop, tell us about it. I mean, tell us kind of about your setup in your shop that allows you to flip these kitchens so quick. I mean, what do you got going on in there?
Man, so, when it comes to fine finishes, you definitely want to have a separate spray booth. You definitely want to have a separate dry booth area. And you definitely want to have the right temps and humidities. So in my shop, it is probably, I don't know, roughly like 950 square foot. Perfect for mine right now. And I also have like a separate building, but, I've got a 3.5 ton unit in that thing. And, yeah, so in about 2 minutes, you can get sweat out of the thing for sure. So it's got us going, really good. And, I started out, for the efficiency spraying vertically, and that was a huge key to the 5-day process, I believe. So I still have the ability to spray vertically. I've got plenty of rack systems for that, which I mainly use for new style doors. The new doors that I order from New Doors there, and but with the oak jobs and stuff, I have the availability to do more flat spraying. So, we have both setups there at the shop. And yeah, the goal is to just always see cabinets just lined up in there. I see it all the time. And I want to be that guy for sure.
It's always a good feeling when you walk into the shop in the morning and you have to walk around cabinets because you just got so much going on, man. That always is. I used to love that when I had my business, just being able to walk in and it being full.
Yep. Getting to the point where you see guys in there doing exactly what you would be doing. Yeah, that's when you're doing it right.
That's a pretty awesome feeling. I mean, what's one of the biggest challenges that you've faced since you've been on your own? Maybe something that you faced and overcome. Help any of those other guys out there that are trying to get kicked off into the fine finishing.
For me personally, I think just learning the clientele. I think getting a good feel for the clientele, knowing that you're not going to get every single client. You don't want to get every single client. I think that is kind of a big deal. That makes them want you even more. You being booked out. So I think the biggest thing is for me personally is knowing how to talk to clients that come at me in a sideways manner.
Yeah, like Paul, let's dive into that a little. Like, go them off the bat, just off pricing. I mean, we've all had those customers
for sure. Yeah, just for me being a young entrepreneur type guy, I'm just like going through all those things, and in a small town dealing with these higher end type clientele, and they say these things, and you're like, oh, okay, how do I react to this right now? I need to take a step back and try to figure out what I'm going to say and make it calculated, those types of things. Just
tallying up what I always used to call the PETA tax, you just give them a couple little tallies on the sheet so you know what the PETA tax is going to be at the end. I talk to a lot of painters, whether it's finishing or talking to them technical side or even business side. And what I always find interesting when I ask these guys, it's a question like, so if you go look at your journey from where you started to where you are now, like what always fascinates me is like, what's like something like a constant, like this is a non-negotiable value of mine. Like this is something I won't waver on. I won't waver on quality, whatever that may be. But the answer is always, it just fascinates me of what people are saying that this is it. This is it for me. There's no wavering.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just constantly pushing quality. That's number one. I won't back down when it comes to like, I'll go with the cheaper guy. Like I'll go with him. Like we believe in this and we set the standard, and a lot of people just want your price and they think that it's outrageous. But I always do compare this to that. So you get what you pay for every time, and it's a luxury. It's a convenience type thing in this type of industry here, being super quick, and you never get that time back. So that's where I stand on all that. So
on your day-to-day, are you primarily focusing on just cabinet finishing, or are you guys still doing some architectural interior exterior as an add-on service to your customers?
Yeah, so pretty much we specialize in kitchen cabinet refinishing. We only do add-ons for those clients. It kind of seems like that's kind of the way that the business is working. I can't do too much more. I'll take on, it seems like too much. People will be like, oh, I got this dining table that I just got 6 months ago, and I spilled acetone on it. My daughter was doing her nails, and could you fix it? So it's getting to that point too, where that's another struggle, is trying to say no. Setting boundaries and just for myself.
That was always a big one for me when it came to estimates. Like one of mine was when it came to doing estimates, people would always say, hey, can you come after 6? Can you come on Saturday morning? And I would just say, I don't do estimates on nights and weekends. And you'd always get well, you're a painter. And I'm like, so do you go to your doctor on the weekend? Do you go to your dentist on Saturday or after 7 p.m.? Like, I've got a family.
That's kind of interesting too. I grew up, seeing the painter as some homeless looking guy that just looked fried. So I kind of want to change the narrative on the painter, in a way. So when I show up, I definitely want to show up in the most professional manner, and definitely change that narrative for people, because it's so sideways for this generation, or maybe the last, to be like, well, to look at it that way, because this is a trade, and there's riches in the niches. That's for damn sure.
People used to say, man, if you got a new truck, you don't want to show up in a new truck. They'll think you're charging too much. And I'm like, well, I want them to know that I care about quality, and I want stuff to look nice. I don't want to show up, in a paint truck that looks like, could say free candy on the side. I mean, so, oh man. So outside of work, I mean, what's life? What's Tyler outside of painting? Like, what's your love, your interest besides finishing cabinets?
So 4 kids under 6. For about 5 years, man, it's just been building a business and kids outside of that. And vacations. Taking a lot of vacations. It's been great just being able to have the freedoms, and owning our own business, and being able to not rely on the man, working for the man, and just having to be there at this certain time, or like, I'm going to work sun up to sundown, Monday through Saturday, and I'm only going to make $1,300 a week, babe. Like, so, having the freedoms to be able to do, have a sick day, I guess, or something, that's been super great.
Where have we gone? What's your favorite vacation to date?
Oh man. We typically go to Panama, And so yeah, life for me outside of work, and yeah, we take the dirt bikes down there, and we got 2 dirt bike tracks down there, about 45 minutes away from the beach. I've always ridden dirt bikes, and now that I've got the kids, it's going to be pretty cool to. It's really cool to already see how much they are. The boys, especially, just like me. So it's gonna be pretty cool for me, because I always wanted to be that dad that had their kids just, I don't know, going fast. So
I got the scary part. I got my daughter that's like me, and it's terrifying the holy crap out of me because she's only 3.
yeah, yeah. Luckily, my daughter is more like the wife. She's into the girly girl things. Yeah, because these 3 boys, man, they're gonna put me through enough. Man, that's a lot of money having 3 dirt bikes alone.
I mean, yeah, I used to, when I was young, high school, junior high and high school, there was a place in Oklahoma in the Panhandle called Little Sahara. It's like, man, over 150 acres of just sand dunes. I mean, long travel buggies, sand tires. I mean, and on these big weekends, I mean, there'd be a town of maybe 5,000 people, but they'd have big weekends that there'd be 150,000 people there, just camped out on the side of the roads, everyone riding 4-wheelers. I mean, that was a blast. 4-wheelers, dirt bikes.
Yeah, it's just wide open. Yeah, paddle tire. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, all we got around here up in Indiana is much cornfields. I tell you what.
So where at in Indiana are you guys at?
We are in Terre Haute. Um, Most people know Terre Haute from Larry Bird, which our ISU basketball team, they're doing great this year. They're doing wonderful since Larry Bird was here. I don't know, back in the '90s or something. So yeah, it's just a small town, not far from Indianapolis. That's a big city here. So yep, we service up to 150 miles from Terre Haute, Indiana. So it's a lot on me, especially going outside of 120 miles. Having to stay in the hotel would probably be most convenient. So but I want to definitely try to hit everybody that wants that fine finish. The people that deserve it. That's for darn sure.
Is there anything that you've learned over your 3.5 years? I mean, just thinking back, something that you've learned that said, man, if I ever get the chance to tell someone, don't do this, or you got to do this, what was that turning point? I mean, what's something like that in your tenure as a business owner that you would share with people?
Naphtha and acetone to clean.
Yeah,
For sure. Number one. Not like, let's throw Dawn dish soap or, something on there, and, just stuff like that. There's plenty of things what I'd tell you not to do. Man, them gas ovens, and they got like them buttons on the front. We cover them with plastic. Well, I bumped that thing, and whew, the plastic just seared off so quick. Good thing I didn't have paper over that thing, though. Yeah. So, things like that I look for, like if I had employees, like, man, like that would be catastrophic. So I'm trying to get over the fact that I have to let these employees, when I get them eventually, just not even worry about that stuff.
it happens fast. I had 8 guys working for me, and I mean, the thing to keep preaching is just an SOP that can be repeated by anybody, and just do the same thing every day. I mean, that to me is super important. Processes. I mean, written out processes on sanding, on spraying, setting up, masking, turning the gas off. And I used to have my guys do, when they first got into a job, we would get them trained to take pictures of everything in the house, the room that they're working in. Just
Yep, dings on the refrigerator, the hardwood floor.
because, I mean, it is an interesting world. I mean, people are people, and you just got to protect yourself for sure. But
There's bad apples for sure.
let's talk. I mean, when you get into the painting world, this is something that I always find another one of my I love business. I love finance. My wife has corrupted me. She's a finance person. I used to hate it, but now I love it. Like when you get into the business side of it, like I mean, there's all kinds of apps, there's all kinds of programs and softwares.
The wife takes care of all that. Everything you're saying, that I'm already like, yeah, the wife takes care of all this, bro. I pull the trigger.
You collect the money, I'll pull the trigger.
Well, I love cash, and they do give me cash, so.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's one of those ones that everyone used to ask me, "Hey, can I get a discount if I pay you cash?" And I'm like, "Well, I still got to pay these like 20 guys that are working." So
That's what I was just talking, I just talked to my wife about last night. I'm like, is that really like a thing? Like, do people really like, do other people in business be like, yeah, like I'll take $2,000 off for cash? I'm like,
I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago with the reputation painters have is, not really wanting to report stuff, easier for them to, hit the liquor store on the way home if you pay them in cash, so they'll take a little bit off.
yeah, I guess that is a big thing too, for you to just stand your ground, period, and just be like, if anything, I'm always like, no, you owe $500 more because the trim, the nail holes, the caulking, all this shit I had to do, plus your cleaning fee because your cabinet's got all them grease on there. You've been cigarette smoking, the cat piss, all that combined, 500 extra. So cash for that, that'd be cool.
A trick that I used to always say is, when they would be like, "Oh man, if you'll knock $500 off," I'd be like, "Well, you see, the way I bid stuff is it's going to take X to do it. If I could have done it for 500 less, I would have bid it for 500 less." Like, we're not out here to try to make all the money in the world. Just you don't try to get your doctor to charge you less or your dentist to charge you less, for that matter, or you know, less at the car dealership when you're getting it serviced.
Yeah, I had some guy yesterday. He's like, I've been seeing your yard sign. How much is your average kitchen? And I'm like, in that neighborhood, 8 to 9 grand. And he's like, oh, I can get new cabinets for 8 to 9 grand. I'm like, well, where are you gonna get them? So it's just like, it's always just off the wall stuff that you kind of have to like be like, well, what am I gonna say next?
Yeah, I used to love that one. I'd be like, all right, yeah, you probably could, but then you got to take your countertops off. You got to unhook all your plumbing. You got to take those cabinets out.
There's always stuff. It's always a nightmare. That's why it's one of it. It's a luxury for me to come in. I said, you read my sign. You called me to refinish your cabinets. You didn't call me to replace your cabinets. So you're calling me for my services that now you're saying you don't even want. So have a great day. That's a ballpark of what I charge there, buddy. I mean, tell your friends. Because your friends might be able to afford it. I don't know.
In your 3.5 years, how many times have you gotten the call? Hey, Tyler, I need some help. You were expensive. I went with this other guy, and they look horrible. I need you to come fix them.
I've got one coming up. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So I've done out of the past 3 years, I've done probably 3 of those, where that same exact scenario. This last one that I'm ever going to do, and I'll get into that. She did it. Okay, so she hit me up, I think last year, and she's like, here's my kitchen. I gave her the price. Oak kitchen, pretty small. It was like $6,000, and it's local. So she didn't go with it. I gotta ask my husband. And I think she might have ghosted me too. So she hits me up this year, and she calls me because we've been putting her number out there, And she's like, hey, I hit you up last year. Does my quote still stand? And I'm like, yeah, we can come out and, we can honor your quote, being that it's the same kitchen, you haven't changed anything, you know. And, she's like, okay, perfect. So we go out there, the wife and I, and we get there, and the whole kitchen's been covered. Rust-Oleum, the kit from Menards, the glaze everywhere. She did it all over the trim in the house, the sliding doors. So we added that in too, because I can't just do the cabinets and let do such good work and then let this trim over here that she destroyed just go unnoticed.
Everyone's going to notice it.
Yeah. So you know, well, what do you say in that instance when you gave her the quote, untouched cabinets, just oily, greasy, 30-year-old oak cabinets already, already a grind. And then she went and did this. And she's like, well, it's chipping and it's peeling, that's why we want it done. Right. But she went to the extent, get this, she went to the extent to say, I think it's because we didn't put a clear coat on it. Like, it didn't come with a clear coat. I think it needed like a polyurethane on top.
Those finish glazes are just, they're a joke.
Yeah, she was just like, I'm like, well, what prep did you do though? You're like, what? How is it going to stick? And nothing's going to stick to something that's nasty. But anyway, that's a different story. So, but she had no clue. She's like, okay, I'll pay the price to have it finished, and she still thought we were going to use like Emerald or like Sherwin-Williams stuff or something. Like, she had no clue. Some people, they're like, yeah, at that point, whenever they ruin their cabinets, and they're broken down to the point where they have to have it done right. Yeah. Then she found out, oh, you do use factory coatings, like, oh yeah, like, so. Yeah, I preach this stuff. I make videos all the time. Like, I try to have the wife do the videos. We show the door, how smooth it is.
So I used to tell people all the time, and they'd call back, and I'd be like, I can come look at them, but let's just set it up front. There's a high likely chance that the cost is going to go up because someone has screwed up, and I got to fix it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm done. I'm done with fixing kitchens. I've done so many of them. I've done so many chalk paint kitchens. I've done so many latex kitchens.
Chalk paint never really kicked off down here in the South Central, I guess. I mean, it was a huge thing for a while, but no, I mean, not hardly anybody ever used it. But so it was pretty big in Indiana.
It is. It's very big. I've got my competitors are chalk painters.
So your book's pretty solid, pretty easily.
Once they kind of figure it out, or this has kind of been the thing. I don't know. I've done it for like 3 people. Hey, can I come see a kitchen? I'm like, I guess. Let me call up Sally. Oh, let me call Marty.
I mean, yeah. How do you? I mean, you got customers that'll let people come in and see them?
I've had 3 different clients. Yeah, I love taking them. Yeah, you've never heard of this? It's crazy. People do this to me all the time. I don't know. So I guess it's just me. It's wild. So I always take them to the one, the biggest one, like the nicest one, the one where I did both sides of the fireplace, the built-in cabinets, the banister, the stair rail, all that, and the kitchen and the desk area. So, yeah, and as soon as they see it, it's over, But the clients, that love me, that treat me like one of their own.
Yeah, I mean, those clients are awesome to have. I used to have a client that we did a lot of work for, and I go over there one day, and it's like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And we're painting the whole house. I mean, it's a whole house paint, one room at a time. We were there for a good 4.5 months. And I mean, it's a big house. So I go in there about 3:30, 4 o'clock, tell the guys we're wrapping up for the day, just check on them, see if they need anything for the next day. I walk in, and my guys, 2-man crew, I always ran 2-man crews, they're both sitting down at the dining room table, and the lady is feeding them like dinner. She's got like plates, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And we've done a lot for this lady, and she's just like, Zach, don't worry about it. We're fine. Just leave. We got it under control. And I'm just like those clients. I mean, those are the ones you're like, why can't everyone be like that? Just
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's as a good, business owner, that's always the goal, is to create that relationship, you know, and that somewhat of a bond to the client, because especially when you're doing what I'm doing, you're transforming the heart of their home, and you're forever going to be a piece of their life. So if you have that mindset going in, it's not too hard to build that relationship and receive the fruits there. I guess you could say, yeah. My clients are great, Oh, and something I always think that's really nice, you always try to do more, for the client, than what you quoted. Always do a little bit more. Always better than what they expected, of course, but always do a little bit more. And, it always comes back.
Yeah, that's that's a great piece of advice. Always just do a little something extra, just to put that little touch, personal touch. Like, it's not just a transaction. That's a good one. Yeah. So I know we were talking earlier, and we talked about your switch over to um, the industrial finishes. So what, whether it be financial or just even job wise, scheduling wise, what kind of impact did that make on your business to actually making the jump, taking the time to learn industrial finishes and just diving in?
So it wasn't one or the other, it was both combined. When it came to financially struggling to actually live the life we wanted to live and the life that we knew we deserved, combined with, um, wanting better quality for our clients. So, those two things, it really, it was a no brainer for us. And once we did make that jump, I told my wife, after a couple of years of just studying and watching videos, on the YouTube, she'd be like, "What are you doing?" After my construction job, I'd be on the couch. I'd get home at 9:30. I'd be on the couch until 2 in the morning, just studying, watching these finishing videos, about tips and sprayers and all these coatings that I started to learn about. Because I don't know if the phone listens to you. That's what I've heard. Once you start scrolling through, it's kind of like, what's going on here? So, these quality coatings such as Centurion popped up, and that's what's the power of social media and the people that you follow, the people that you talk to on there. You can get trapped, and it could be for the best, really. And that's what happened. Once I started ordering Centurion from the nearest dealer, I realized, man, I can get it overnight. This isn't a big deal. I can get it in any color. I think that's something that a lot of people get hooked on. Even some painters and finishers, they're like, "Oh, I thought, I had to get Centurion colors, or how do I get the colors? Like, is it the same colors that we get our latex paint in?" And I'm like, "Dude, you can get any color of the rainbow, brother." And so, once I got into it, man, and I started catalyzing that product, man, I learned a lot. But being able to go back and to remember the things that I had been studying up until the point of, okay, babe, like, if we want to change our life, if we want to elevate our business and start investing in ourselves, we have to use, obviously we've invested in the proper tools, we've got the shop, we have to use the proper material, the proper coatings. Okay. Once we started doing that, and it just changed. It changed our entire lives. We were able, yeah, it really was, all the way around. We were able to do things and see things that we never thought were possible right off the bat. And then, like the difference, you can see the difference. And I tell people this, you can see the difference within minutes, within off the gun. You can see the difference within minutes with it leveling out, with it flashing off with a little air movement, with the right temps, humidity. I mean, it's next level. And if you've got that mindset, then you'll be able to see what we see when we use these coatings. And yeah, it was a step in the right direction, and we definitely put everything together once we started using that. And I got the 1107 primer right off the bat, and went full cat with it. And I learned real quick about the pot life because I was used to, you know, taking my sweet time right here. Like, is it going to run? Is it going to drip? Looking around at the coating, the old coating that I was spraying. So I was kind of trying to do that here, right? I wasn't just rolling with it, doing my mills. And so, yeah, I mean, everything changes. And that's the big thing, too, is, doing it by the book, the TDS sheet and all that. It's there for a reason. If you follow it, it's gold. You're gonna come out, yeah, you're gonna turn out just fine. So, and if you're already, if you're confident with spraying these coatings that you were spraying previously off the shelf, then you're fine. There's no difference. Go ahead and start spraying them, and you'll start to see, the difference immediately, and use the same precautions, and then start to learn how to uh, ventilate and everything even better. That's all I got to say. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. Always do better than you did yesterday, and you definitely want to do your absolute best when you're spraying industrial coatings for sure. But that's what I tell guys when they're like, "Oh, I'm worried about spraying, the catalyst, the ISO catalyst and all this and that." Like, oh, well, they got a 1K. Their 1K systems are wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great progression. You can learn the coding on the 1K, and then when you've got it down, then you're like, okay, let's sneak in a 2K, and then you get a system. I mean, you get a system that you can offer your clients so they can have A or B depending on their budget.
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous about mixing the catalyst because I was never great with math, but that's what it all comes down to. But all you're doing is dumping, this percentage into a cup, and you dump it in the gallon slowly, and you mix it around. So follow your pot life, and you're good. So once I got over that, I ordered the 1107 right off the bat, and ran it and ran the 400 series on top. Just to be able to use the 2K first and the 1K after, and see what we had there. And yeah, once I used the 2K top coat, best of both worlds, and it's been rock solid ever since. And the difference, man, that it's made for us financially, and but it down to the speed though. That's the thing. Knowing that you can go into the shop, and walk out of there at a certain time every day, and not have to look back, with no worry. It's a different feeling for sure.
I mean, that's always a good feeling. That's like when you sit back and think about when you started. This is always the scary thing. I mean, it's always look at when you started and what you and your wife had conversations. Say, if we're going to do this, we got to go. And now you're 3.5 years in. You've made it through the 3-year mark where most businesses fail. I mean, 50% of businesses fail at 3 years. You've jumped that hurdle. When you sit back at home at night and you're like, holy, like this is real. Like, how's that make you feel? Like, you made that, like, that's impressive.
Yeah, man. I just want to get to the point where I'm not stuck in the grind and I can sit back and be like, yeah, we made it. We're actually doing the damn thing. Every time I complete a kitchen every week, if I finish like I did today on Thursday, then yeah, I can have tonight and tomorrow to be like, all right, I'm the man. I did that. Now, let's get ready for the next one because we got to go a little bit harder and see if we can refine this process a bit more so that we can spend a little bit more time, maybe get off on a Wednesday or something, or maybe hire somebody to do this for me. So, yeah, it's just always thinking about the next thing, like, like how can we be better? It's tough to be able to sit back and be content. That's for sure. I think about that every day. I'm driving to the job and I'm about to put in another rock solid day. I'm like, what am I going to take home from this? What am I going to learn from this really hard day? And if I think about that from the beginning of the day and I follow through with it, I'm going to pick up a bunch of things and I'm going to feel good about everything that I've conquered for the day, especially if I've set those goals significantly high to where my wife's over here telling me, quit setting unrealistic expectations.
Oh, my wife calls them stretch goals. She was like, that's a hell of a stretch goal. And I'm like, I mean, you don't have something to shoot for.
Yeah, you see, you've been in it for longer because she doesn't have names for it yet. She's just like unrealistic expectations. So I have to just blow through them.
I mean, you gotta take a minute to, look at it though, and just congratulate you because, dude, you're killing it on social media. You're blowing up. Amazing work, and hurdle one's down. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Yeah. I definitely try to go hard. There was definitely a time in my life, like everybody, when you were young, where you were just like, I'm sure for most people, where you were just like, you didn't know what you were gonna do, and you really didn't want to do shit. Honestly, you just wanted to just hang out, with your friends and just do anything. So yeah, it's cool to be that guy, especially in a small town that's making it and making a name for himself, like I always said I would, and just going hard every day, and just yeah. Last week, man, was the biggest week that I had ever had for the business side, for sure. For sure, we started off the week. I did a exterior garage doors, and then on the interior, I did a bathroom vanity. That was Monday, so I wrapped that up with the Centurion 2800 series flat top coat, like a snowbound white. We did her kitchen cabinets last year. So that was client number one. That was repeat client number one to start out the week last week. And then repeat client number two, we went and knocked out a double bathroom vanity and 2800 series flat. I love the flat.
Flat, it's my favorite. That soft feel of the flat, it just feels like butter.
Yeah, it's velvet. It's wicked. So then we roll on to, let's see, Wednesday. Yeah. No, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I knocked out the full exterior, and I don't do exteriors much. So, but like I told the wife, it ain't nothing for me to pull a trigger. If I got to do a little back rolling, I don't know. That's a little bit of cardio for the week.
I used to have guys always telling me it's exterior season. Get out there and make the money. And I'm like, you have fun in the heat. I'm going to go to the air conditioning.
Yeah. So this one here was repeat client number 3 for the week, I think. And we did their cabinets last year in a custom blue. It was an oak cabinet job. A Centurion 400 series satin. And they booked, after 2 days of seeing my process on site, they booked their exterior. They told me, they said, man, he was from Georgia. She's a realtor here, and he's like, it's his house. He's like, you're next level, dude. He's like, I've not seen anybody around here that runs business the way you do, and that can run work the way you do. So, you know, I know you probably don't do exteriors, but can you do my exterior? So I told him, yeah, I've done some, and here's the quote for it. Paid the half down right away. I always require half down, and yeah, we knocked it out just right. My wife was hard on me, and that's why I was kind of running down my week last week, because it was definitely the biggest and hardest week that I've ever had because this weather. It's been really wet, and she's the boss, man. She handled it just right. And if I didn't hit my marks just right, and if I didn't work as hard as I could, like I used to for the man, like just working like a dog, then I would have not. I wouldn't have made it. It rained the next morning after I finished up. So it rained Sunday morning. But everything was locked down and good.
Perfect. You're good to go. Well, man, that's awesome. We're going to get Haley on the next episode. Next time I get you going, we're going to get Haley on.
Yeah, like I said, we got to sweet talk her. It's hard to break her out for anything. I tell you, I try to get her in the booth. I want to get her talking. I got to get her on a billboard. We got plenty of big things for Haley in the work.
We'll break her in. We'll break her in easy.
Yeah, we definitely got to get her into the finishing world. The finishing world needs people like Haley, and that's what I told her.
Yes. There needs to definitely be more women in the finishing world, because one thing I've learned is women have a different eye on finishing, an eye that guys can't have, that just our brains just aren't wired.
Most definitely. That's why we work better together. We're just alike when it comes to talking with the client. But yeah, when it comes to that eye for design and just knowing how to talk with the female in the room, they get that connection. They start vibing about the colors, and just the tone is different. They don't want to hear me talking to them.
They always ask me about colors, and I'm like, I'll paint them pink and purple. I don't really care. It's your house.
Yeah, I'm more like, look, if I tell you, especially with your husband not present, if I tell you, yeah, I like Hope Blue, and we do it that, and then you don't like it, and you tell your husband, well, his ass is the one that chose it, right? Then we have problems.
Yeah, I don't want those problems.
That's always in the back of my mind. So I'm always that guy that's just like, I just can't. I'm with you, lady. I don't know either, but my wife, she's got you. Haley's got you.
Yeah. So, man, well, that's awesome. That's been a killer talk. Yeah. The whole purpose, the reason behind this is I want to share knowledge in this podcast. That's what I'm going for, between distributors, end users, manufacturers, equipment, everything. Is there something that you're struggling with, business or finishing wise, that I might be able to help you with? Like any advice, like anything that you're struggling with, that with my knowledge and my experience and all sides of finishing and manufacturing and business, is there anything that I could be able to help you with?
I mean, if we're being real, I think we're catalyzing in a can that you have to dump product out of to be able to catalyze it fully. That's one thing that it just kills me.
So you catalyze full gallons?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, yeah, because I spray, a whole kitchen at one time. I think it's necessary to, with an airless, so you have to have at least a gallon. That's one thing that really it gets me. Negotiated rates with FedEx, and like my distributor right now, he works with me a little bit on pricing, but like I want a bunch of primer, I want a bunch of 1111, and he hasn't given me a deal on it yet. Like he hasn't given me a number. I want like at least 20 gallons just to have. But I've been buying the gallon, but just consistency with the distributors, honestly. I think that's big. But I've only worked with two. I worked with paint guy Matt first, and he was kind of over there in Johnston, Missouri. Yeah, Johnston Paint. He was just, I felt like kind of screwing me on stuff because I was new to it. And he was like, oh, I can get him on the highest price and shipping and all that. But I don't know. I'd say, yeah, I told Miles, and he's like, I'll bring it up in the next meeting about the bigger cans. And
Yeah, I mean, that's something that they've played around with, I know, in the past. And I mean, knowing that people are asking for it, that's definite something. Miles is going to come on, so I'll make a note and I'll hit him. I'll be like, hey, Tyler said you were going to do bigger cans. You ready to make that commitment? We'll put him on the spot.
I mean, here's the thing, like, they're going to come back and say, well, the price difference makes up for you having to buy a little bucket, a separate bucket. Well, then it's if enough people are asking for a bigger can, or if they see it in demand, then they can start charging that a little difference. I feel like it's a good enough product where I think people would pay a little more, but I don't know. I don't see the numbers, but I don't know. That's just a pet peeve of mine anyway. So really not too much, I guess. Not too much for you to even be able to record and put on there.
That's all right, man. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to get everything figured out in this. But
if I could get more shirts, hats, and hoodies, that's about. I'm that guy.
More swag. We need more swag.
You see it, man. I like to represent the people that. I mean, it's not like Centurion supports me at all, but they've just changed my life. Like you said, the last piece of the puzzle has definitely changed my life. So I like to be able to wear that, and customers see it. With my branding, they see the product, and yeah, I think it definitely helps. Like the brochures definitely help. All that type of stuff, the extra little bullshit stuff, I think that helps. Trying to send that out to distributors, more brochures and informative stuff for clients, I think will convert into more sales for Centurion. I think so. And so you got Rob on the next one?
Yeah, Rob's coming on next week.
Okay, cool.
So we got Rob coming on. We've got Samson. He's in the Dallas area coming on, trying to get Evan on here, and then we're also going to have some distributors. Turner, I think I get him on. Dennis is going to come on. Rodriguez, working on Tritech. Don Applegate at Tritech. So we got a lot of guests coming on. I mean, we're booked out pretty far. I'm booked out pretty far already. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of information that everyone's going to be able to take from it. Stories about what changed you might help the next guy. That's the whole purpose and the whole premise of the show. It's just sharing the information.
For sure. Yeah. I really dig that for sure. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot for you to reach out to someone like me, especially in the small town that I'm in. It's just wild, but it just shows how small and tight our industry is. So that means a lot to me.
I just want to say, hey, I appreciate it. Keep up the good work, man. You're over the hill, over that mountain. You're on the downward slope. But, man, everybody, thanks for listening to The Bearded Finisher. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to be coming out weekly. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tyler. Man, this has been a great interview, man.
Hell yeah. Let's get it.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.